не дуже перевіряю, тому якщо підписані, то це добре. Значить, ви бачите всі новинки. І я поширю презентацію. Okay, the topic of our today's lecture is political power. You know this topic very good. That's why I hope you will help me with some discussion questions, some comments. And for today, I planned to discuss with you the questions about main peculiarities of political power, sources of political power, the term of legitimacy of power, a division of power into branches, and decentralization of power. All these topic we already speak about on our other disciplines, courses, and that's why you know this very good. I remember that you study political power, a big course with Svetlana Bulbinyuk, and that's why maybe you will even tell something new for me and add my lecture. And now let's start, let's go on. I'd like to ask you, what do you associate the power with?
With methods which state can use. Yes, no, I think it's maybe so state power. I think state power.
Instruments, maybe weapons. Yes.
Yes.
What else? Do you associate it with pressure, for example, some violence?
Maybe.
And, do you associate it with the will, the possibility to make somebody do something?
Yes, of course, because state can have a law, yes, which state must to be provide, yes, I think the power is yes, instrument which you say methods with state can have якби підтримує його, так, тобто supported, yes.
Thank you very much. And the scientific definition of political power is close to our discussion. You can see on your screens that political power is a social cohesion which is first after causes changes in the behavior of a second. And in this case, we can speak not only about the political power, but also about the family power, for example, I don't know, economic power, social power, because everywhere when we have relations between people, the more powerful person, the stronger, the clever then the others can provide its policy and make somebody do something by regulating his or her behavior, and as a result we can say that the influence of power is stronger because we have some weapons, like Dania says, law, or some pressure on some social groups. When we are sure that the political power can use any sources to have the result, that we can't hesitate to do something or not to do. we are sure that it is necessary and that we can do something in other that provided that put it into law. And I'd like to remind you some the most famous scientists who study the term of political power. For example, Max Weber. He defined power like the probability that one actor within a social relationship will be in a position to carry out his will despite resistances. And here we speak about the high intelligence level or high organization level when some person have a right to be in a top of the pyramid, and for this reason to make some decisions and explain and tell everyone else what to do. Also, I can mention Robert Dahl. He says that political power, in his opinion, means that power over B to the extent that he can get A to do something that B would not otherwise do. So these scientists mean that we not always agree with some decisions of power. And when we speak about the such situation, when without the power pressure, person won't be in such cases, and that they will provide other ideas or other decisions. In this situation, we can speak about the power, not the influence. And Robert Dahl means that the difference between these two terms put on the desire of the other person to be back in a position inside of the decision maker. Also, I can mention such scientists as Hannah Arendt. For her, power is the ability not just to act, but to act in concert. And she also pay attention to the situation when in the idea of power, we always have some result and make a person do something. We can also mention that Hannah Arendt was a Jewish in Germany in the period of two World War, and she was her point of view, her ideas formed on the totalitarian policy, and I think you remember that she is the most popular person who speak about the sense and the peculiarities of totalitarian regime. In this case, her understanding of power is close to some violence pressure. And the next one is Talcott Parsons, a founder of system analysis in politics. He understood the power like the mechanism operating to bring about changes in the processes of social interaction. And the main case in this definition is interaction, relationship, because we can speak about the political power at least when we have two actors. One person can't have power. Sometimes we speak that somebody have a power, but his or herself, that he control his feelings and his behavior, but it's a bit like a joke, not like a real sense of the term, because even if they're a group, a few persons, we can organize some relations when we can bring some changes to behavior. And a good term to talk of Parsons is the term mechanism. He means that all the parts of political power is rather interdependent, that each element of the group have their own role and function, and when he do something all together, they can be effective political power. We speak about the good decision making, quick decision making, and providing the face policy which is supported by population. And this mechanism should work like the dynamic system, when some element, some group collapse or fall down, it should be created something in the opposite, something new to continue the relations and continue the life of political system, because the power is a center of any political system, is a main element which take all together economic, social, culture, and other spheres of life. And when we speak about some translation of from English to Ukrainian, we usually use three terms to word political. In English, it can be politics, policy, and polity. And for this reason, we can speak about the three aspects of political power. The first aspect, or the first phase of power, is decision making and some policy. When we can speak about economical policy, educational policy, military policy, and so on. The second aspect of power is agenda setting, when we are planning something, when we try to put the main ideas of society into the public discussions and solve some problem. We speak about the politics. And the third phase of power is control, forming some ideas, some propaganda actions, creating some norms like laws, and as general, it called it polity. And also political power has many signs, many peculiarities, which is make it different from the other types of power. For example, monocentrism. We can speak about the economical power, but there are a lot of centers of decision making, and the same in international relations. We can't find out the one center of decision making. In political power, we always have the one source of sovereignty. By the constitution, it is the people who have the supreme power in the country, and in practice it should be government and its head, for example, prime minister or president. And if in political power appeared few centers of power, we can only speak about the anarchy or some rise in political power, not the stable political system. Also, the very important sign of political party is legality in use coercion. That means that unlegally some crime troops, for example, can have the violence pressure on some other group, but they won't have political power because they have no rights for use coercion. At the same time, when some person do something that is forbidden, the policeman or other organs can use coercion for punish such person and imprison or put on them some bills, for example, and make for such reason, with such methods, limits what you should and what you shouldn't to do. Also, the political power has supremacy for other special authorities, and that means that political power can use different sources, including economic, social, cultural, informational, and so on. And also we speak about the publicity of political power, and there are some law principles that the norms of rules and norms of law is real, is valid to all social groups. Even if you don't know some law, it will be no possibility to escape from responsibility. And that means that in all territory of the state will be the same rules and the same laws. And diversity of resources, I already said that politics put a decision to other spheres of life, and for this reason it uses different sources. We can speak that the informational sources is became rather it grows its importance because of informational kind of society. And as we see, the information shares very quickly, and for control it, we can have some power to limit the uncontrolled sharing information, like the state secret, or some information which makes panic, or some unsocial actions. And also we can find out many examples when propaganda can change the influence of some coalition or military threats by their sharing some fakes and providing the propaganda policy in foreign countries. I don't sure that I can show you the video because of the bad connection of internet. It seems to me I'll better copy link and give you to see it after the lecture, okay?
Sure. Okay, sure.
Thank you. And we can find in different sources different elements and different structure of political power. One of them is dividing the power into subjects, the person or the institute which make the influence, objects, the character, the person or a group who should realize the decision and be an object of this decision. Also the sources, some methods and some weapons to realize some decision. And the last one is function of political power. That means the role and the results of the decision making. Also, in political science, we have some mechanism of expressing power, of realizing power, of behavior of political leaders. And this mechanism divided into few groups. First of all, is its domination. When we speak about the conquest of individuals, and when it looks like some dictatorship to realize this political power. Also, the term of leadership, which express such relations between the subject and object of the power, when they have the same beliefs, and when the object believes that the leader will help to reach some goals of social development, and that he will help to achieve some benefit and face a society. Also, the next mechanism of political power is management. It means the use of power, and it put attention in the organization part of exercising power. As a manager, we all usually understand some person who have some official power, and he his power laid on some judicial rules, and it's like the director or a boss of company who is manage the little group. It will be the same function in state management because it laid on the same sources, or only the official rule and right to rule. And the last one is control. Is usually in any area of life, we can search for some weakness, weak sides of decision making, and for this reason we should always take under control which was effective and which is not. And also control helps to save some positive results and find out the way to recognize some mistakes in some policy. The next question is about legitimacy. Very popular term, which is you already study, and I will only remind you that legitimacy should be understood like the acceptance of authority, because it lies down not on the official rules, but in beliefs, in feelings, and desire of people to support some elites, some institute, and so on. And legitimacy is different from legacy because when we speak about some institute which is legal, it means that it's established by some official rules, not that somebody supports it. And also I have a questions. If you have some examples about the difference between the legitimacy and legality.
Can I?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. No, for example, legitimacy, it's when the people support or support the president of the, or the prime minister if this if the prime minister or president or government yes have support from people, yeah, this country, from society, maybe not support, not support oh, how it can I say it, this word, when they approve the government, when the people approve government. Legality is maybe more law terms when they defined when the government have do something in the law, yes, with law norms, with law, and it's not like criminal, or something like that. And,
you explain it correctly, but can you give any examples in history when some institute was?
Yes,
please.
so of course, for example, when we have a revolution in 2014, yes, the President Yanukovych втратив, я забув, вибачте, будь ласка. Lost, yes, thank you, I'm sorry, forgot this word. Lost the legitimacy, and he lost the legality because they have they do a criminal, yes, they for his якби, for his law, for his what he want, it will be not legality, yes, it's illegal, will be, for example, yes, or killer peoples, yes, the he 100, you know, and other, but maybe some maybe examples.
I think it will be enough. Thank you.
Thank you
And
too.
maybe girls have their own example. No? Okay. Also, you know, and you remember that Max Weber proposed 3 types of legitimacy, and it is a really classic types, which is used in different countries, different scientific position. He expressed and he described the 3 types of legitimacy, where the first one is traditional, when the trust laid on the customs and the brightest variant of traditional legitimacy is constitutional monarchies, when the monarch have no real power, but at the same time he or she have a very high level of legitimacy, and he stay like the symbol of the country, a state, and like the arbiter in any conflict in political sphere. Also, Weber gives the definition on charismatic legitimacy, which lays on belief in exceptional abilities, some qualities which is rather different from the other people. And usually we can see the charismatic legitimacy in some authoritarian countries, and some bright leaders who use their ability to give a very simple explaining of some problem, of some very complicated questions. They give the simple answer, and for this reason many people can support such charismatic leaders, because they speak bright, explain simple, and can promise a lot to their fans. That's why they always have the base in unrational reasons. They can have no professional abilities or some results of their actions, but they can inspire a great amount of people to do something. That's why it's a very interesting direction of political power legitimacy. And the most popular for modern and democratic countries is rational legitimacy. It lays on the some official rules of establishing some institutes like elections. In developed democracies, the people believe that the elected without any mistakes group of elite or a person have their right to rule, and there are no discussions after the end of the electional process. When the results is already accounted, opposition, the parties and the person who fall, who have no support on these elections, they try to do their best to prepare for the next elections period, not to discuss and to try to destroy the power of their opposites. And the separation of power is one of the basic principles of exercising political power in modern society. This principle means that political power divided into branches, and as a result, no person or no institute can have the supreme power, and it is something like limits, something like guarantee against the authoritarian, totalitarian regimes. When the one branch should control another and solve only problems in their sphere, not in all spheres of life. As usual, we have three branches of power: legislative, executive, and judicial. Legislative branch we usually associate with the parliaments. It is the branch which should make the law, regulate the international relations, plan the budget of the country, and also they have many function of creating the executive power. For example, make under position prime minister or the all the government in different countries by the constitutional norm. Also, executive power is usually realize some decision in practice, and they should provide some policy and enforcing the laws on the life. And executive power also can control legislative by propose some law initiative, or by the threat of appointing new elections and assign some decisions of parliament. When the president, for example, can or a monarch in monarchy, in constitutional monarchy, can make veto to some law and return to the parliament with its proposition. And like I already says, all the branches, they are not separate from each other, but they can influence on the policy of another institute. This system have the name of checks and balances. I hope you remember and you know some kind of this check and balances. Maybe somebody can give the examples of check and balances system. They spell almost the same in Ukrainian and in English because it's a Latin terms. Don't you remember any mechanism of check and balances?
It's different power when we have parliament, yes, when we have a government, when we have a judgment. For example, when the power is how I can tell it, that the power is divide, yeah.
I'll help you with the next slide. Examples of check and balances. It's a resignation of the government. When the parliament can says the government works bad and that we should put new elections, yes, and elect new structure, new deputies in parliament because the previous wasn't effective. Also, dissolution of parliament, the opposite situation when the president or prime minister with the government speak about the ineffectiveness of parliament and propose to find new deputies on their offices. Also, the promulgation of the law, like I said, one person or an institute can put a veto to some laws. A legislative initiative, when we propose, like the people or like the member of government can propose their agenda to the parliament. Also, the court can decide that some law is unconstitutional, like the constitutional court in Ukraine, and the impeachment procedure when the president is removed from his office, his position, for some crimes or some ineffectiveness actions on his position. And the last topic for today is decentralization of power. I hope you remember that the decentralization is one of the main tendencies of modern lives, modern democracies, because the delegation of some actions to the local governments, local authorities can make the policy more effective because the local groups in some territories, they know better what is necessary for this time, what will be the more useful, and where the main problems, where to lay down some financial and other sources. At the same time, decentralization has some threats. For example, it can give more corruptional actions in some young states like Ukraine, and also some territories can be not so successful as others, and for this reason they always need some donation from the state, and they will lost their possibilities because of decentralization. And the axioma in political science that decentralization can give good potential for state development because of quick decision making, executive development, development of managerial skills on the local level, and it means also the development of political elites, because some regions can prepare the reserve of political elites for the center parts of government, or central part of the state. I mean that not only in Kiev we can find the political leaders, but also in all region, and it is very good background for creating, for preparing the new political leaders by the some local authorities, when the person can be responsible for their followers because they know each other directly without the media, but they can in little cities or villages, towns, they can know each other and communicate directly. And also it gives the facility possibilities to growth. Also, all the financial investment can be better controlled by the local authorities, and as I already said, it gives most possibilities to effective communication. That's all which I want to tell you for today. Do you have any